Well, hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar on female guest excellence. I'm going to be talking to you today on how you can make the most of the female business traveller market to promote your property. I'm Carolyn Pearson and I'm the founder and chief exec of Maiden Voyage. I launched the organisation 11 years ago due to my own experiences as a female business traveller, where I often found it boring or lonely to be in different cities by myself around the world. I also had specific safety concerns when I was staying in my hotels, so really made it my life's mission to create a standard for female-friendly hotels and to recommend these great hotels to other female travellers. On today's webinar, I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit around who Maiden Voyage is. I'm going to talk to you about what women want from hotels. We're going to share some case studies of hotels who are catering to the female traveller. I'm going to give you some top tips for making your property more female-friendly. I'm also going to give you some ideas on how to market your property to the female business traveller market. We'll share some ideas on the RFP process on how you can boost revenue from the corporate sector. And I'm also going to be sharing our collaboration with Maiden Voyage and Capita Travel and Events. So let's get started. Today, Maiden Voyage is an organisation which makes business travel safe in a diverse world. So we provide travel safety solutions and training for the female and the LGBT market. We've been widely featured in lots and lots of the international press, and we have a community of over 12,000 business travellers in over 100 countries. Here you can see a breakdown of our demographics. So typically the ladies who are using Maiden Voyage are women from all sectors, entrepreneurs to academics, of an age range of between 20 and 55. We know that they're independent, well-travelled, have good disposable income, they're definitely cash rich and time poor, and quite typically they would be degree educated. We have a team of global ambassadors around the world, and you can find some of these on our website. And our ambassadors also provide city guides, and our female-friendly hotels are actually featured on these city guides as well. We have a number of corporate clients, so these are organisations who've taken the travel safety training into their organisations to educate their business travellers. We provide classroom training whereby we go into large organisations or small organisations and teach all the nuances of travel safety training, from understanding the destination to traveller wellbeing and health. We look at hotel safety, onboard the aircraft safety, safe ground transportation, and many more aspects of how people can keep themselves safe when they're travelling on business. We've also encapsulated all of this material into our suite of e-learning modules, 5 modules, which of course includes a specific module on hotel safety. Please do talk to us after the webinar if this is something that you would like to have a look at. On our website today, you will find a breakdown of our certified female-friendly hotels. These are hotels that have met our stringent criteria, and we are recommending them happily to our female traveller community. So talking about female-focused hotels, we know that a number of hotel companies have got their own programs. Some of you will remember the Hyatt for Her program, where female travellers are allocated different rooms, or they've got slightly upgraded equipment such as better hair dryers, more coat hangers, and sometimes different toiletries, and also different locations within the hotel. We've got the M Gallery by Accor, inspired by her project. But also, some of you will know Duke's Hotel in London, which have got the specific Duchess rooms, and of course Red Carnation Hotels, an organisation which excels in female business travellers and female travellers as a whole. And in fact, all of the staff go through their internal female guest training when they join. But also, many of you will be aware that there are hotels in India and the Middle East and other parts of the world which actually have got women-only floors. So what we've come up with is not something that is new. It's something that the industry as a whole has been interested in for years. And many of you will remember that Expetel, in fact, had a female guest project and product a number of years ago. We also may remember that Richard Branson launched the Virgin Hotels Group, and actually from a press perspective, he jumped on the bandwagon and marketed his hotels as female friendly. Aside from providing a stool in the shower so that we can shave our legs, I believe that they also provided interesting kits and sex toys in the minibar for female travellers, because clearly Richard thought that that's what we needed. So I'm going to give you some considerations before we get started. Do you have a specific guest policy, I wonder? Is it something that you're considering? Is it something that you may well do to boost your revenue from this new sector? I'd like to talk to you now a little bit around understanding who your female business travellers are. Typically, of course, women who have to do it all, but also we're working, obviously, we're travelling. We quite often take pride in our appearance. We try to eat healthily. We run a busy household. We're probably the social secretary, so keeping all of that going in the diary management whilst we're away. And we're also managing childcare or even maybe pet care. So what can you do as a hotel to keep us doing all those things that we do when we're at home without a hitch, so that you can make our stay with you, you know, maybe serene, might be going too far, but at least relaxing and enable us to continue the life that we have when we're not at home. Actually, we do know that women will buy products and services which will help us to streamline our lives and maximize our productivity. And that goes back to being cash rich and time poor. So what can you do to make your female business traveller's life much easier? Because we still need to be doing it all. What is it that you've got on available in terms of products or services, or the way that you service us before we get there? And how female focused is your property? In 2016, Maiden Voyage ran the independent research, the Women in Business Travel Report. And what we found is that 24% of women said that they had suffered a negative incident when traveling on business, with 79% of business travelers claiming that they felt underprepared to deal with any incidents that they encountered. Now, specifically for you, 70% believe that travel suppliers should try harder to address the needs of female business travelers, and that, of course, does include hoteliers. And 31% of business travellers didn't feel that their employers adequately looked after them when they were travelling on business. And in fact, in the Barclaycard Business Travel Survey said that 47% of women business travellers said that they felt lonely whilst they were travelling on business. And that's probably why they decided to eat room service in their rooms, or as we're seeing more regularly these days, pop to a deli and bring a picnic back to the hotel room rather than eating in your hotel restaurant, which of course means reduced revenue for yourselves. And 61%, of course, not wanting to just sit in the bar and have a drink. So really, what women travellers are looking for these days is a mixture of safety, some comfort, and very much so well-being. And any of you who are working in the business travel sector will know that well-being is the hot topic of the day. So the safety concerns that women share with us, of course, is that 51% of our community said that they had at some point felt vulnerable when staying in a hotel. So how would this manifest? Well, many of them may be putting a piece of furniture behind the door, a litter bin, a suitcase, all kinds of furniture are going behind your hotel doors potentially if they're not feeling safe in those rooms. And so many of them are even carrying a door wedge or a door jammer, so extra device to keep themselves safe. And that's with good reason. There are many examples of issues and incidents that have happened to female travellers around the world. Some of you may well remember the newscaster in the USA whereby she had a stalker who had called the hotel prior to her arrival. He posed as one of her colleagues and the hotel staff allocated him the room next door. He then went on to wire up a spy camera to her spy hole and broadcast the footage of her getting undressed on the internet. She actually made a claim against Hilton Hotels for $100 million. Secondly, a lady here was staying in a travel lodge, and when she checked into her room, the rather unlikely welcome message appeared on her screen: "I am going to rape you." And finally, we have a lady here who was sexually assaulted in a hotel after reception not only gave a man a key to her room, but the maintenance team also disassembled the secondary lock or the deadbolt onto that lady's room. So there are many, many incidents that have been reported, which understandably make people feel nervous when they're traveling away from home. So on our checklist for female-friendly hotels, we are always looking for 2 independent locks. And this is not only to protect our travellers, but it's also to protect yourselves as a hotel. We know that on quite a number of occasions, people have been double allocated a hotel bedroom, and therefore if the guest has got the opportunity to apply that second lock, then if somebody has been double allocated the room, then at least they're not going to be able to get in. But also we welcome to see spy holes, key card lift access, again, just massively increases the security, on-site parking and CCTV, not just in external areas, but also in the hotel corridors as well. One of the biggest concerns that our travellers also share with us is having their room number announced out loud. And again, I've stayed in many hotels where this has happened, including hotel groups where it's actually part of their firm and published policy that they will not announce guest numbers out loud. But this doesn't just happen at reception. It may also happen at breakfast. It may happen in the restaurant. It may happen in the bar area as well. So the areas where you should be educating personnel is not to be asking for room numbers at any point during the stay. The piece of card where the room number is written should be discreetly displayed by the guests, and that should be sufficient for a member of staff to be able to identify that person. But likewise, books in spas or in gyms where people write their personal details, again, thinking about GDPR, are there other ways that you can ensure your guest safety? But also that lack of familiarity is, I prefer to be anonymous when I'm staying in a room. I was recently staying in a hotel in Dublin. I gave my name and my surname to the room service people, and when my room service was delivered, the man was very familiar with me. He used my first name at least 10 times during the course of delivering my salad to my room. And again, I just felt very uncomfortable about the whole situation. What's really nice also is if a hotel may well call me prior to my room service being delivered, so that I've got some expectation of when it's arriving. I can get myself into appropriate clothing. I can maybe wedge the door open, and I know that I'm going to be expecting a knock at the door at a certain point. And I actually really feel uncomfortable if I'm sharing a hotel with an interconnecting door. So I can maybe hear the guest next door. We've had examples of guests who've had love letters passed under the door. We've had people trying the door in the middle of the night. And of course, sometimes the acoustics aren't quite as good as a fully private room, because you can quite often hear the occupant in the room next door. And in fact, on one of my occasions, I stayed in a room where I could hear a gentleman entertaining an extramarital lady in his hotel room, which again was not something that I wanted to listen to. So again, please be mindful of not putting lone female travellers into connecting rooms. Now, in terms of in-room product, and I'm going to actually do a green spin on this, of course, besides wanting good mirrors and lighting and full-length mirrors, and plug sockets close to mirrors so that we don't have to be contortionists to dry or straighten our hair. We also want good quality toiletries. A big tick in the box, of course, to our friends at Melia and many other hotels who've moved to the full-size products in exchange for the minis, because we're now saving the planet, which is a great step forward that we're seeing in the hospitality industry, but still an opportunity to provide some nice goodies so that we don't have to carry so many products on our hotel stay. But also those really useful vanity kits. So of course, shower caps or cotton wool buds, also maybe cotton wool pads. And again, thinking about going green, you don't necessarily need to put these in every room, but maybe a sign to say that these things are available at reception if needed just helps to make our stays a little bit more comfortable. And I know from a recent stay in one of the aforementioned hotels, there was also sanitary products available at reception as well. One of the biggest bugbears our ladies tell us is their hair dryers. Unfortunately, I still stay at a hotel that's got one of those old vacuum hose hair dryers sometimes, but a really good quality hair dryer goes a really long way. And I've got Erica, my colleague, with me. City Suites in Manchester have got the amazing GHD hair dryers. My hair always looks stunning when I've stayed there. So maybe you can think about whether or not you've got a push button thing or something that's wide into the back of a drawer where you've only got about 6-inch worth of cable to work with. But also, of course, those removable coat hangers, because typically if I'm traveling with a nice dress, it's going to be creased by the time I get there. And if I can't get my hanger out of the wardrobe to put my dress into the bathroom to steam, then again, I'm not going to look my best at work next day. And of course, slobs and rippers. gloves and slippers. So making sure that I'm not walking around in bare feet on a floor where lots of people have walked around in their shoes. And again, I can just get cozy and get nice and relaxed in the room. And of course, interesting reading material. So a big tick in the box to our friends at Red Carnation Hotel. I would always recommend checking in there as early as you possibly can and leave as late as you can, because the large stack of lovely magazines makes for a fantastic night in if you're staying at one of those gorgeous properties. In terms of well-being, of course, room service plays a massive part, and this is also a revenue generator for yourself. If I'm staying at a hotel and I know that you've got reasonably priced, healthy room service options, I'm much less likely to go to Pret a Manger and bring a picnic into your hotel room. So please wave goodbye to the spaghetti carbonara and the burger and bring in some vegan and plant-based options as well. Some people think that the delivery surcharge is actually a female tax, because if women are not feeling comfortable going to the bar or to the restaurant, then they feel that they're penalised by having to pay a £5 delivery charge for food to come to the room. And I seem to remember a not too distant future past where I stayed in a hotel where the room service charge was probably equal price to the sandwich that I was going to order, which was about £10 for a tuna sandwich, which I could have got from Tesco's for £1.50. So, you know, we are also budget conscious as well. But making sure that your restaurant is conducive to lone female diners, because you want to get us in there. So thinking about where you're going to sit us. So maybe sitting us towards the edge of the room where we've got some nice comfortable lighting, maybe close to a plug socket so that we can plug our devices in. Think about handing us some reading material, and also again having some healthy options for us, or lighter options, or allowing us to go off menu if we would want to do that. In the room service, in the room on the amenity tray, I stay at a hotel that puts the chamomile tea out there, but never any peppermint. And as a purveyor of herbal teas or decaf coffee, again, something that I see particularly amongst my female friends and colleagues is that we're wanting those non-caffeine options before we're trying to get a good night's sleep. Again, if you've got gym facilities on site, absolutely make the most of them. Free water, of course, bottled water in the rooms, and maybe some spa treatments or some in-room spa treatments if you don't actually have a spa available in the hotel, or will go towards attracting female guests for sure. So thinking about room service, the Boston Consulting Group ran a survey and they found that 67% of women said that food was something that made them feel happy and they would pay a premium for if it helped them to eat healthily and look good. So that really backs up what I'm saying about making sure that your room service menu is conducive to the female guest. Actually, 70% of women in the UK say that they're on some sort of a diet at any one time. So another reason to cater for us. So think about your room service menu, maybe go back after today's webinar and have a look at it and see if there's anything on there that you would like to eat. Does it actually have that female factor? In terms of the dining experiences, I've just talked a little bit around this already, thinking about where you're going to seat your lone female diners. I know sometimes I felt like an extra accessory where nobody's really known where they wanted to put me. I can recommend not putting us next to a large group of men, for example, or seating us by the toilets or in a corner that's dark and dingy, because that's, you know, you think that you're being discreet, but actually you're not. Maybe a window seat so that we can look out, we can have something to distract us. And quite often, if you're a confident, travel-savvy woman, what I've found is that I'm really comfortable sitting in a restaurant by myself, but other people feel uncomfortable on my behalf and feel the need to invite me over to join them. I've already mentioned maybe opportunities to use our devices. One of the things that you could consider also is if you know that you've got a busy night of the week where you get lots of female business travellers, is maybe do a lone female dining table. So like a captain's table whereby they can socialise, you can get them to stay there, they'll maybe crack open the gin or get onto the desserts. So again, they're going to spend more in the restaurant than if they were maybe dining by themselves or if they were having room service. And I think also by creating that extended business travel family, if you start to build relationships amongst your guests, then again, it creates a real social environment and it makes people become loyal to your brand. And again, talking about room services during the dining experience, making sure that people aren't asked to give their room number out loud when they're requesting the bill. Look for other ways that we can do that discreetly. So marketing to female business travellers, just thinking about your own marketing strategy right now. If you were to look at your website or your literature which you share with your TMC partners, do you have a strategy to attract your female guests? What about the imagery on your website? Is it depicting females or is it all male business travellers? Is it something that you're thinking about, or is it maybe something that you should think about? Now, I'm going to give you some testimonials of hotels who have worked with Red Carnation, with Maiden Voyage. So here is one from Red Carnation Group. I'm just going to leave that on the screen so that you can read that for a moment. Here's one from Melia. And the Leopold Hotel in Sheffield. So is it worth it? Is it worth taking that time to invest in actually marketing to a specific demographic? Well, what we know is that women have a natural tendency to talk about their experiences, good and bad. And as many of you are marketeers, you know that we're more likely to tell a bad story than we are a good story. But we also trust recommendations and impartial reviews. So maybe people sharing on their social media and talking about it online. But they also want to hear from somebody else and not you about how good or how fantastic your hotel is. So actually, why not let your female guests be your marketeers rather than you needing to do that yourself? But actually, we know that women control 92% of vacation purchases. So again, if you get them tied into your brand, particularly if you have a mixture of business and leisure properties, or even if you want them to extend their business trip and come back with their family or their friends, or maybe come back for a weekend or so, then that would be something where they have that loyalty and that familiarity with your property, and also want to show off to their friends and family where they stay during the week so that they also feel a part of it. But actually, the female business traveller is the fastest growing segment of the business traveller market. So absolutely something that we would recommend that you get yourself involved in. So thinking about the personal testimonials, the referrals, the online reviews and recommendations on social media, and of course, TripAdvisor. We are all seeing both positive and negative reviews on TripAdvisor. And in fact, if you search TripAdvisor for female guests, we've seen some quite hair-raising examples, but likewise, we've seen some fantastic accolades of hotels who are really tapping into the needs and the wants of the female business traveller. But as I mentioned, if you look at your website, are your marketing images targeting your hotel towards male business travellers? What about the imagery? We know that women want to see inside the rooms before they book. They don't necessarily just need to see a facade or a reception. But also, if you do have a female guest policy, then talk about it. Please be proud, share it. Again, use that in your marketing literature and certainly in your conversations with the corporate bookers and also with your travel management companies. And also think about partnerships with worthy causes or charities, because again, we know that that's something that really triggers the female purchasing gene if somebody's seen to be contributing to that third bottom line. And coming on to that, we have created our own Hotels for Homeless campaign, and this is a collaboration between Maiden Voyage and a number of hotels. And what we try to do is encourage hotels that are refurbishing or they're changing maybe the consumables. Maybe you're getting rid of your miniature toiletries, or you're changing your cleaning products, or you're just replacing the bedding or the pillows, to think about whether or not you can donate these products to a local homeless charity rather than sending them to landfill. So it's twofold. You would be helping the environment, but you could also be helping somebody who is homeless or who has recently been homeless. And we'd like to say a thank you here to the Leopold Hotel in Sheffield, to Alton Hall in Leeds and Clayton Hotel Manchester, who have all independently given things to local homeless charities as part of their refurbishment programmes. So again, this is positive PR. This is something that we can write about. It's something that you can write about as well. So here you can see Clayton Hotel got some nice press as a result of participating. But actually, again, there's a why here. 70% of women said that they would be more loyal to a hotel chain that addresses women's needs. But also the Cornell School of Hospitality, many of which you will be familiar with, have linked sensitivity to the needs of female business travellers to specific improvements on the bottom line. So you can go away and have a Google of that report. But also, once you've attracted female guests to your hotel, how can you upsell or how can you cross-sell? What additional products and services could you offer that women would be willing to buy? And what existing services and products are your female business travellers not buying, and why not? Think about that room service. Again, that's a huge opportunity. And I'd actually like to share an example of a time that I stayed at the hotel on Chelsea Bridge. It was a Spanish chain. I can't quite remember the name, the Pestana Hotel. And I checked into my room and the telephone rang, and I thought that it was just reception checking that I was happy with my room. But it was actually the spa calling to say that there were still a few appointments available and would I like to book something. Had I not had plans that evening, I think the minimum spa treatment was around about £45, so that was good revenue for the hotel. So again, thinking carefully about making use of any underutilised capacity for any services that you've got within the hotel. Now, moving on to the RFP process, because obviously many of you are really keen to maximise your TMC relationships and your corporate buyers. Some common questions that you will be seeing now on your RFPs, such as what are you doing to safeguard female or diverse travellers? Are you maiden voyage approved? And you will see some of these included in the Capita Travel and Events contracts as well. So it is something that hotels are contacting us on the back of because they're being asked these questions. So it's really a no-brainer that if you are doing something for female guests, you want to be able to say yes and you want to be able to talk that through. The maiden voyage approval, of course, gives you that stamp of approval, and many of you already have this stamp of approval, and I hope that you're making the most of it. So if you have not yet got your hotel accredited, the way that we need to do it is to check that you do have 2 independent locks. So that's either a T-bar or a separate chain or a separate deadbolt. We will arrange an inspection once we've confirmed the situation with the locks. And if your hotel passes or is referred and then you can make improvements, then you could actually go through the accreditation process for us. And that will then mean that your hotel is picked up by our marketing team and your campaign planning starts, which includes a whole host of different possibilities for you in terms of social media, blogs, guest stays, etc. So here's just a snapshot of some of the inspection criteria that we will be looking at. So we'll be looking at, is your reception manned for 24/7? Do you have spy holes? Do you have those locks? What about the area where you are? What about the approach to the hotel? Are all these nice and well lit? So the VIP certification, which many of you have already, is of course, and please use this as a checklist to make sure that you're making use of all of this, is the use of the Maiden Voyage logo and marketing collateral. Making sure that you are then included in our TMC approved database, but also inclusion on our corporate database of hotels will be shared with our partners such as Capita Travel and Events. You also get an official certificate, so hopefully you're sharing that certificate within your hotels. You will also be covered on the Capita Travel and Events booking platform, so identified as a Maiden Voyage certified female-friendly hotel. But also you get to participate in our online marketing, which goes out to our community of the 12,000 and growing travellers. So that includes monthly social media, newsletter coverage. We can send in a blogger to come and stay and write about the hotel. You would go in the local city guides, so please have a look at our website and check the local city guides that you're happy with your coverage on there. But also maybe opportunities for joint events. So you may wish to put an evening on to bring in some of your corporate buyers, and we may well bring some of our members along as well. But actually our e-learning, which is now used by over 100,000 people, also makes reference to the Maiden Voyage female-friendly hotels. So even aside from the marketing that we're doing proactively for you, you are also getting some exposure to some very, very large organisations who are undergoing that travel safety training. So as I mentioned, Maiden Voyage and Capita have got the joint venture. So if you do work with Capita, make sure that you let your account manager know that you're Maiden Voyage approved, and remember to get them to talk about that when they're doing maybe show arounds and talking about your hotel to their clients. And so that really encapsulates what we're going to be covering really from a female-friendly hotel perspective today. But again, I'm just going to leave you with a consideration. Given the facts and figures that I've shared with you and some of the top tips, is there something that you may well be doing differently after today to enhance your appeal to the female business traveller and to those corporate bookers? These are my contact details, so if you do have any questions or ideas or suggestions on how we can make the Certified Female Friendly Hotel Programme even better, or if you want to talk to us about bringing more hotels in the programme, then please do get in touch. Many thanks.